Good morning. This is Creative Moments brought to you by the Zulu Public Library. Today I want to explore some watercolor fun. Got a lot of note cards that I would like to share with people, and part of that is me trying to create an original piece of artwork to show them that I care. Now, don't get me wrong, I do buy a lot of greeting cards, but I do like when I have the opportunity to play with some techniques, and this also gives me the excuse to do that. So these are just some examples of some watercolor techniques that I explored. We'll talk about these a little bit as we go through this moment with you. So I use just a pretty much standard watercolor. Sorry, my dog is trying to move underneath me, so I'm trying to get out of her way. She's getting old. Okay, so I just go and buy watercolor paper. This is a nice 140-pound weight. It works pretty good for me for what I'm going to do. This is that standard size. It's a 12 by 9. I have taken these today and cut them into quarters so that I have a lot of little test boards. Now, this is a very inexpensive watercolor set. Please, don't think that you need to go out and spend a lot of money if you're not trying to create a work of art that's going to last for a very long time. When I was pulling my supplies out, I even have glitter watercolor, and I'm not sure that this was ever even touched. So I'm not sure how that will work. I also have higher end. These are watercolor tubes. When I work with these, you have to squeeze them out. Oops, I'm gonna mix everything up here. You can just squeeze that out, and then you mess. Sorry, it's getting crazy in the neighborhood. So you can just put those on there and use those. Now, my favorite is to use these intense colors, Hydrus Fine Art watercolor. It's a liquid. So in this little bottle with this little dropper, you can either drop that directly onto your work, or you can put it in a palette. I could not find my standard watercolor palette that's kind of got the little Sorry, I closed the door. We'll see how that'll work this morning. So I use these. It's a liquid that, and I have that in here. But if I had my watercolor palette, it could sit in the cup, and it would maybe not mix on the palette as much. So these are the things that I'm going to be using this morning. I don't have very expensive brushes. I do have a collection of different brushes. With watercolors, sometimes the softer brush is better than some of the harder, more bristly, cheaper brushes that I use. So, I've got a little bit of glue on that, but we're not going to worry about it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do this morning is do a wet on wet. Actually, I think I'm going to turn that over. So I dip my brush. This is regular water. There's not anything in here. I'm going to wet my paper. I'm going to get some water on there. And you can tell I have not These are cheap brushes. I have not pulled all the loose hairs out, so I made like that. So we'll just put that on there like that. I'm going to take a, I think that's small. Then I'm going to put some phthalo blue on here, and you can see how pretty that is. That's the beauty of that Hybris Fine Art color. It is vivid. I'm going to rinse that a little bit. And we're going to put some magenta around the edges. And you can see how that kind of, you can blend it together. So that is a wet on wet technique, and I'm talking, man, I got that wet. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is doing salt water. Now, a lot of you may have done it where you have it wet like this, and I think I may just go ahead and demonstrate on that for you, that you can put some salt, just regular table salt on there, and you can see how it kind of starts to draw the water out of the paper into the salt, and it creates a nice technique. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to put the salt directly into the water, stir that. Now, I've heard so many techniques where if you use warm water, and you know, you get a much more condensed sea salt, sea water, but we're just using this morning. This is about a cup of water in the cup. I put a teaspoon of just regular table salt in there, stirred it up. Okay. So I'm going to, this brush that was just in the regular water, I am now going to put it in my salt water, and I'm going to do the same thing where I am going to lay down water on my watercolor paper, sorry. Man, still I am just having trouble with those. Okay. I'm going to take this brush, and I'm going to dip it in that blue again, and I'm just going to touch it, and touch it, and touch it. And I really kind of like this. If I had my paper taped down, it wouldn't be bowing as much, and I would get a flatter technique. And you can see where the paper's kind of dry right there, so my technique stops right where the paper is dry. But over here, you can see how it's created these little explosions, and the color just kind of spreads out, kind of gets a veiny look, and it's just a really colorful way. Let's dip this in a little bit of this magenta just to see how that will do. So you can see that it is a very pretty effect. You can tell where the paper is already starting to dry out a little bit, where it was wetter, and we're getting these effects. So I'm just going to rinse that off. Okay, so that was salt water. Now we're going to do one with bleach. And I have about a cup of water in here. I have a little thing of bleach. You know, bleach is kind of precious right now, so I just created that and I labeled it. So this is my art bleach. I'm going to put about 5 drops of bleach in this water. Okay. So I can smell that bleach. It smells clean. So we're going to just kind of stir that up. Okay. So we'll lay down the water, the bleach water. This one right here, I need it to be a little wet. And we're going to use some more of that blue. And we're going to put it down. And honestly, it acts a little bit different because the color, like in the salt water, the color stayed more centered. In this, it kind of spreads out a little more. You have more of a sunburst effect. So, and if you look at the this one with the salt, there's color going out, the feathers out, and then you have the blue in the middle. Whereas this is just basically the whole color just spreading out. Because we did it on all the others, we'll put a little bit of this in here. And I'm just watching what's happening. I'm not really trying to create anything right here. So that is our bleach effect. Okay. Now I'm going to do, and some of these things you did as a child in art class, going to elementary school. Not all kids are able to go to art classes, so if you need an activity to do with your kids this summer, some of these things, you know, they may just really ooh and ah over and get really excited about. Okay, my cool water's getting a little blue, but I'm going to go ahead. This is already doing it wrong, Theresa. Okay, so I'm going to put a wash of blue, and I'm using way more paint than I should, but I really like this blue. Okay, so I am now going to take a little bottle of just this. This actually is 90% alcohol. It's something I've had in this little bottler. If I needed it, believe me, I'd be pulling it out to clean with. And I'm going to just drip it. And I really like it coming out of a spray bottle. I like the randomness of the different sizes. You can see how I kind of, you know, you can create a little bit of a tortoiseshell effect. This is one of my favorite things to do. You can also use this with acrylic paint. So that is bleach. Now I have bleach all over my feet. Okay. Use up there for you. That's really good. Okay. Now, you may have noticed when I was doing when I showed you the trees that I had done earlier, that I have these white lines in here, and I'm going to show you how I do that. It's with, you can buy watercolor resist. It's like a plastic little frisket thing that you can paint on, you write on, and then you put your watercolor over it, and then you go back and you remove that film, and wherever the film was, it's white. This is kind of like another version of that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to make some little miniature trees for y'all. The thing is, you can't see this very much when it's on here, and I have a tendency to be a little heavy-handed, but you're going to be able to see. So right now, all you can see is me moving this around on this paper. forgot to, let's put a little bit of green down here so I can some grass. I'm not going to use this much. I always put a lot of paint down, then I wind up having to paint forever trying to use up all my materials. Oops, that was wrong. That was the bleach, you don't want that. So we're going back over here and add a big brush. This is my sky, so I'm going to put that across there. I'm going to spread this just a little bit to kind of thin it out. And you can see wherever and I forgot to tell you what I used to make those lines with. I used an oil pastel. This is the oil pastel that I use. Oil and water don't mix, that's why if you put an oil pastel down, it creates a resist. Or you can even use a candle. You'll be able to see that candle. That'll be that one right there. Okay. Picking up lots of junk for my table. It's a little hard for me for what I want to do. Okay. So, I'm going to get some green, and we're going to create, whoa, that just turned into blue and green. My brush is too dirty, my water's too dirty. I got too many hairs in here. But you can see how the pastel created a resist. Now you don't have to create trees, you can make circles, you can make lines, you can write messages. There are all different ways to use that method. Now there's one more that I want to show you. We're just zooming through on our term this morning. And Mary, the fourth one, this one with this is plain water. This one was just plain paint, and then you sprinkle it's just clear water put down, and then I put the color, I laid the color down, and then I did the droplets of alcohol straight onto that. This one was bleach in the water, and then I laid down the color on that. This one was with the salt water that I laid the color down, and then this one was just water where I laid color down, and then I put table salt on top. I hope that answers your question. I will try to address your questions a little bit more succinctly after I get through. I've been up since 6:30 this morning trying to write a rant, and so then I go, oh, it's Tuesday, it's not Monday. Got to do creative moments. Sorry. Okay. So I have a piece of saran wrap. It's just plastic. I'm gonna put that down. Let's see. And I'm going to get some very wet color and just kind of lay that down on here. We'll lay down some magenta, see if we can get some, some purple going on. I'm just laying that down. Okay. And then we take our board, we press it down onto our saran wrap. I try to be neat sometimes, and it's not always possible. So then I turn this over and then you can see what's going on this side. You can manipulate it a little bit like I am here. I'm moving it out, to the edges. If I had put a lot more down, there would be a lot more coverage. But one of the things about this technique is that you can really create some jagged light, and you can combine the colors underneath there. If you didn't like it, you could pull it off, put some more on. But I really like the organic feeling of these edges, so I really like this technique. And then you pull it up. Now, if you still had a lot on there, you could do it again. But I really like that. I think for a background for you to use as a card, I think there's a lot of strength in that. But I also, if you want to just kill some time, this is the best way to kill time, is playing with watercolors and these techniques. This one is not going to be dry enough, but once the salt dries, you can start wiping it off, and you can see right there how it created some of that effect with the salt. That needs to be a lot drier before I remove all that salt. So here you have 6 different techniques that you can use, like I said, to play with your watercolors. The same, I didn't put any purple, any magenta on this one, but I used the same color palette. The 2 colors, plain with salt sprinkled on it. The salt water, where I had the salt, stirred it up in the water. It's about a cup of salt, a cup of water to a teaspoon of salt. You can add as many colors as you like to create these effects. If you use a dropper, you may be able to do it more. You may be able to create a line. You know what? I think I might try that. So going back into the salt water, I'm going to put some salt water right here. And I'm going to see maybe a little too much salt, maybe a little too much water, but that's what it would be like dry with this color. That's what it's like wet. And I have not played with watercolor in a while, and I will just tell you, watercolor, I feel like it's my nemesis. I'm not very good at watercolor. That's why I dabble this way. I am not very much of a watercolor painter. The whole water and stuff, I just kind of get lost. I need to go to school, no doubt about it. Anyway, I hope you had fun this morning with our creativity. I hope that you will try some of these things. Like I said, you don't have to have these colors. You can just have a plain set of watercolors that you can go and buy anywhere. Have fun. Enjoy your week. I really appreciate your comments. I appreciate your coming to visit with me on these Tuesdays. I will respond to comments, and I will put some better, I will take a picture of each one, and I will have those in the in the comment section, titled with the materials that I used for those. So I hope that helps you. Have a good week. Love you. Bye.